would be Echa. Am I Echa?
What is that?
Isn't that Hebrew for like grumpy old man or something? Echa? Am I saying it wrong?
No, it doesn't exist.
You're just a grumpy old man.
You just took like a syllable that is common in the language, and you made a word out of
it. My girlfriend.
I would never do.
My girlfriend said, "Sometimes you're sounding a little like whatever I just said."
Can I get going? Actually, because we're live now. Right. So 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, folks, to the WP-Tonic Roundtable Show. This is episode 608. We record this every Friday at around 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I've got a good panel, an increasing panel. I got some good stories. I think it's going to be a good show. Before we do get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, I just want to tell you next week we will be recording this a bit later. We will be recording this at around 8:30 a.m. And please join us on Facebook and YouTube. Right, I'm going to let the panel quickly introduce themselves and then we'll get on with it. Spencer, would you like to introduce yourself?
Spencer Foreman, the beloved target of the Oxygen.com community.
What a rabid crowd. Why did you have to expose me to that lot? Andrew Palmer, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm Andrew Palmer. That's it.
Right. Got the beloved Heather Wide. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Heather Wild-Renzi. I am the digital solutions lead at The Difference Consulting, and I'm the author of Birth of a Unicorn, which just won the award for Best Entrepreneurship Book of 2021 from International Impact, and is a finalist for Best Entrepreneurship Book from the International Business Awards. So 2 awards 1 week. Awesome.
Yay.
Well done, you. Heather, tweak your mic just a tiny bit or hit the auto button because you're overmodulating a little bit.
Yeah, I've always overmodulated, Heather. So there we go. Vito, would you like to introduce yourself? Have you won any international awards lately, Vito?
Yeah, cutest baby on the podcast award.
Yeah, from the last one, but Heather won this week. No, nothing of this sort. I'm Vito. I'm the founder of Atarim, which is a platform that helps web agencies and freelancers collaborate with their clients and deliver projects fast.
And I've got my beloved friend, Sally. Sally, would you like to introduce yourself?
Certainly. I'm Sally Getch, the WP fangirl, organizer of the East Bay WordPress meetup, but not very organized.
Just right for this show, then.
Sally, can you pick me up at the airport? I'll be in about 4 hours. Can you? I'm coming to see you.
It might take 4 hours to get to the airport, starting now.
From Oakland. Sure.
Very true. I'm driving down to the Bay Area tomorrow. Actually,
are you really going to be there?
Yeah, I've got to.
We got to hook up, man.
Yeah, we're right. I'm buying a new car. So
I've never seen you in person in 15 years.
All
right, I'll talk to you.
I don't think we've ever met, have we?
We've never met in person. No, all these years.
All these years. Well,
that's a great coincidence. All right,
most of my friends I ever met. That's a big surprise, isn't it? Onto the stories. 100+ million WordPress users records leak online. And Sally, you pointed out the obvious in our Slack channel, didn't you? Do you want to start off with this and point out what your first remark was?
That I wasn't surprised it was DreamHost. Okay, but yes, my first question was, does DreamHost actually have 800 million customers, or does 800 million records mean like tables in the database, or even items in database tables.
I guess it's like users inside the website, so they could have like a website could have 1,000, 50,000 users.
Right.
Yeah.
So it says company for over 1.5 million websites. So 814 million records from theoretically, 1.5 million websites. It says,
Well, it's lovely, isn't it? Really, I know web posts are the constant attack vector for every scammer on the internet, but it's a little bit worrying. What did you think, Spencer?
First of all, it's interesting because I would say that's more of a prospect list. They were probably collecting emails since time began with them. And the other part about it is kind of like I don't want to say this to everybody. Is anybody using Chrome and noticed when you use your password saver that it will tell you when certain amounts of your emails and passwords have been compromised? Do you see that on your browsers? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say which people in this group, but there are people in this group, including myself, who've had certain, throwaway emails and so forth that have shown up on that list. So it just seems to me that you probably ought to have a practice in your own business of rotating at least your passwords, if not the actual sign-ins. And whether you use a password manager or I've often taught this, I use a sort of brain algorithm where you have a certain pattern that you use for different sites that you can repeat and remember, but yet it's always unique and it changes. And if you do one or the other of those, then these things are fascinating, but kind of like mundane at this point. Like everybody's gotten their lists compromised. Everybody. It's almost like assume that's the normal, right? I mean, Heather could speak to this probably because the VC world, I'm sure that's like a number one issue when you're building a big, list of clients, right?
Have you been compromised, Heather?
Yeah. Evernote, early on, like in 2012, we had a breach of 50 million users, which was directly related to the LinkedIn and the PlayStation breaches. So like people socially engineered their way into Evernote because people don't change their passwords. So
well, it's true. I mean, or people use the same password in a lot of places. And this was one of the great things about getting a password manager was I could have it create a long random password that's, a different one for each site. And I never even had to know what they were.
Can't recommend 1Password more, actually.
Oh yeah, no, that's my favorite one, and I use the the offline version of it, not the online version of it. But
I'm exactly the same. I'm so happy that obviously you're much more intelligent than me, Heather. So every time
he always says that, but that's not true, Jonathan. You get us all here every week. That's a different kind of intelligence. That's not a sign
of intelligence. You can actually say that's a sign of madness.
Well, don't people traditionally link genius and madness?
I don't know about that. We will find out, won't we?
But I mean, just one thing. Like, I mean, when you see like 800 million users leaked, I mean, if you count up all of the users that have been breached, like basically every single person on the web that has ever used an internet account, their data has been
right.
breached.
Somewhere you have a password or username or something that was, just go visit Have I Been Pwned, and
yeah, like every single person that has ever used the internet, like your data is out there, like. So, like, I mean, and that doesn't, I mean, it's not just in the US, like it's everywhere, everyone, everywhere, your data has been compromised. So that's why most people don't care anymore. So.
Yeah. Andrew, I've got to confess something to you, Andrew. I've got an old AOL account, and it got compromised. It must be forwarding to one of my real email. I haven't used it in donkey's years, and somebody's hacked it, and they're using it to sign up to all sorts of things that you don't want to know. And I keep getting these emails, and so I attempted to have my account deleted with them. They have no email address on their website. They have no You have to scour the internet, and the only thing you can find is a telephone number. And I'm just I'm going to leave it till next week because I'm going to have to kind of build up my patience. And I know that this is going to be a similar experience like having a root canal. So I thought I'd just tell you that, Andrew.
Thanks, because I might have got an email from you via AOL. Yeah.
I have one better. So like I had an Earthlink account from like 1997, and I noticed that like.
What were you, 10?
And I was trying to get it canceled because I noticed that like they were charging a card of mine, and I'm like, wait a second, like how am I getting charged? Because I obviously didn't have a credit card still from 1997, and then I tried logging in to this Earthling account, and they said you're not the owner of this account. So I'm like, okay, and it was my ex-boyfriend from like before I got married. Like to my first husband.
I would imagine you've had. I'm not trying to be funny.
I think the universe is speaking to you, Heather.
I would imagine
maybe you should make a call.
But like I still had that. Like I'd had that credit card line open back like for 25 years. So the original Amex number was on the account, but they kept charging it every time it renewed, every time it changed numbers, every time and somehow Earthlink has been charging Amex for 20 plus years.
And you didn't notice?
Because it's like $4 or something. So of course I didn't notice it. And I called them up and I was like, well, I'd like to cancel this. And they're like, I mean, and also like I didn't like when I figured it out, I was like, well, maybe he's still using the account and I have no way of calling him anyway. But I was like, I can't log in to change it. And they're like, oh, well, you're gonna have to contact the owner of the account. And I'm like, well, it's my credit card. I should be able to cancel it. And they're like, oh, you have to contact the owner of the account. So I was like, I just disputed it with Amex, and they're like, this is stupid. And they credited me back 20 years of Earthlink.
You know, Amazon's revenue last year of $5 billion was from mostly people who have old AOL accounts that they're just using for like email. Basically, they just refuse to update it to something modern or free, and it's just like so easy to do. It's surprising how far.
I know somebody who still uses an Earthlink account.
Yeah, but they definitely don't want anybody contacting them, in no shape or form, talking about not have any, apart from a kind of 800 number. They really don't want anybody communicating with them at all. So there we go. So on to the next story. Oh, yes, my favourite. It's been replaced. My favourite target for hatred is I've replaced Facebook with Amazon. So fired by Bolt at Amazon. It's you against the machine. What did you think of this one, Andrew?
It's just the way it's going to be, right? Because we've got a couple of articles.
You've got to be kidding them.
I got fired by. I've never been fired. I was just asked to leave because I'm a contractor, right? So you can't really get the sack. We just said, can we end your? We're going to end your contract after a very, strong conversation with the chief exec, and just I got fired by text. But that's what's the difference, the bot, the text, you're going to get fired anyway. But
there's all sorts of gutless, immoral, gutless way of sacking people.
Are you really telling me that these massive conglomerates really care about the employees? Come on, get a grip. Nobody cares. You got 40,000.
Well, given the stories we've heard about Amazon and their employees,
we got 100. British Airways employ 200,000 people.
They don't,
right? British Airways employ 200,000 people across the world. They're going to get an email. They're going to get a letter. Whether it's a bot, but the email has already been written, and then you just replace the name. So it's not. There's no difference in being fired by this method.
Yeah, I can just see getting the message, right? Dear first name.
Yeah, exactly. You're fired. So I'm not. I don't.
Have
really
a happy Monday. You've been liquidated.
I don't really care about this because you're going to get fired anyway, and you just have to big up and just grow up and say, right, you know, I'm a number on these people, and nobody cares in these big conglomerates. They seriously don't give a damn about their employees. And once we get that into our mindset, then we're settled into the fact that we get fired by bot. Yeah, okay, I got fired. But whether it was by a real person or a bot, I got fired. I need a new job. So what?
Well, Dr. Evil and his brother have been blasted. They're blasting off in next week, aren't they, or something? Am I correct, Heather? The evil doctor and his brother, they're blasting off next week, aren't they? I want to.
Well, apparently, I just saw Richard Branson is going into.
He's going up. He's going
a few days ahead of Jeff Bezos, and
he's trying to beat Jeff, isn't he?
Right. I'd actually prefer that Richard Branson not go up in a ball of fire.
Yeah, I can tell you a few stories about him. I knew some people that did some business with him, and they had to count their fingers after they did it. So. Go on, Heather. What do you think of of this technology way of increasing your respect from your workforce?
Increasing respect,
loyalty.
No. I mean, honestly, it's the way. So Amazon doesn't care about people that work for them. In fact, if you calculate it, they're going through the amount of available workforce. So fast that they're going to run out of.
Aren't they? I wouldn't. They're going to import child labor.
No, but they're going to run out of people, like available actual people to work for them within the next 5 years. But that's okay because all they're trying to do is tune the algorithms for the manual system. I mean, the automatic systems that they're putting into place. So if you look at the
you're
patents,
really only there to train the robot.
Yeah, exactly. They're buying all the automated systems. They're buying the robots. They're patenting the stuff themselves. I mean, that's what they're doing in the other divisions of Amazon. So people are only there to train the machines, and those machines.
I've got to be honest.
It's a little twist on the old. You have to train your outsourcing replacements before they replace you.
I've got to be honest. I still use them, but I've really cut back how much I buy off those cockroaches, and they are the worst fucking company in America. They are, and their owner is the most evil piece of shit out there. They are the worst. They make Walmart. They've achieved the impossible. They make Walmart look good. Freaking Ada. They are the worst fuckers going. What?
For every one of you, there's somebody that is stepping up to take your place. Like I was at the UPS store getting something notarized the other day, and the guy was he was telling me about how the day before he was just about to close up when a woman was like, can you stay open for a minute? I have some returns. And it turned out she had 65 individual returns for Amazon. And because she'd signed up as an Amazon.
I think she's got bigger problems than using Amazon.
She got for Prime Day, she decided to finally become a Prime member. And so she just started buying everything.
What amuses me about Americans is they buy a house with a 2-car garage, but they don't put the cars in the garage. They just fill them up with shit, and they have to park.
I hate that.
They have to park their cars outside because they've got so much shit in the garage.
So what's in your garage?
Yes, I learned.
I have a gym and a hot tub. No crap whatsoever. That's my garage.
Yes, I learned as soon as I moved to Oakley that you do not keep your car anywhere but the garage because otherwise it gets too hot to get into.
But it's true though.
But even in Vegas, people keep their cars outside, and I'm like, "What the? Why are you doing that?"
Well, because they got so much shit from Amazon that they don't need in the fucking garage. That's why, Eva.
Yes, I mean we do have storage stuff in the garage, quite a bit of it, but there is space for the car there.
Beto's been very quiet about this. What's your views of Beto and his beloved company's way of treating his workforce?
I'm gonna take the opposite approach from everyone here, I think, on this call. So first of all, I get it that you're hiring millions of people. You gotta fire them somehow, and like that's just part of the game. And like Sally was saying,
is that not the purpose of having a HR department, though, Vito?
Yeah, well, you gotta, it's all about systemization. So if the HR department is already gonna send out canned responses, because every response that is being sent out to a fired employee needs to be checked by 7 dozen lawyers, before it's being sent out, might as well have a template. And if you already have a template, might as well have an AI do it. Why not? What's the difference? So
I don't know what to say to you, but I really don't.
If you're working at this scale, we automate stuff all the time in our businesses, even that small scale. If you're working at that scale and firing people is a bottleneck, then you automate it.
But in this case, it's basically the guy said that he was fired.
Right. I mean, in this case, the point is not so much that the message was automated.
What is he going to say? He's in the article. What is he going to say? I did a horrible job and I'm going to write about this on an article? No, he's going to say they fired me because it's a machine. But probably it's not true. Probably he did do something. Or there's a bug.
It does seem, given that what we've heard about their factory operations and their speed requirements and so on, that they have pretty inhuman expectations of what you can do.
Well, because as I said in my interview with Rand last week, this is all, the culture of a company is totally driven, and maybe Heather will remark about this, is totally driven by the founder, by the CEO, by the top management. And when you have the evil doctor who founded it, this is just a mirror.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset. So the guy that I can't remember his name, but the chief executive of Gravity Payments pays everybody the same wages, right? And he allegedly took $1 million pay cut. So that everybody could be paid $70,000 a year, right? A living wage. So out of the chief execs now sitting here, because there's 3 of them at least, or 4, 5, 6. Why don't we do that?
Why don't we do what?
What Gravity Payments are doing, paying everybody what we get paid.
Well, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't
work for me because I take less than most of the people that work for me.
I'll tell you what. For the last year, one guy in my organisation has been paid more than I am.
Well, no doubt about it. I'm not making a fortune.
You build an asset forward, but
Spencer does much better than me. So there we go.
Wait, Jonathan. I have a kind of note on this, because I think that this is, like a.
But of course, Heather's in a total different league to me anyway, so I don't even include her. I don't include her in the conversation. But there we go.
Jonathan Vito's got a point. Let him finish his point. Come on.
Well, I think that the company, you build the people, and the people build the company. But Amazon at their scale, so this is a good mindset for what we're doing. Even 100x of what we're doing, that's still a good mindset. But Amazon is a completely different animal. They are in a different realm of reality than where we are in terms of the operations, the logistics, the amount of people involved in executing the simplest task of getting something.
I just don't get this. I don't see why this got anything to do with treating people as human beings and decent. I really think this is. I've got to be honest with you, Vito. This is an endless stream of excuses for a crappy company with a crappy attitude towards employees.
What enormous mega corporation has ever treated the bulk of its employees humanely? I mean, Amazon may be using technology
there's a host of
these companies are generally out of America. If you look at the American system and say that nobody is nobody is entitled to free medical care at the point of access, then it's an American issue in my view, right? I'm not saying that there's conglomerates or corporates in the UK, but it's an American mindset. Yes. Honestly, I could not live in the USA.
The entire American mindset of making money is based on slavery.
Yeah,
well, it's
shareholder
value.
And I'm a socialist, and I wouldn't agree with that one, really. But there you go.
Let me add to what Andrew says, because I would lean towards what Vito's saying, but say it's slightly different. The problem that we have here with a few American companies, Amazon's at the top of the list, is they are the new monopolistic entities. Let's be honest. And so, like Andrew Carnegie and so forth before at the turn of the century, the problem is that they get away with it because they put shareholder value over employee rights first. But let me twist this a little bit, not to sound socialistic, but just to what Andrew just said. The reason this system exists is because these capitalistic driven shareholders, along with the various people in the politics of Washington, the lobbyists and so forth, allow this to happen without it being crushed down. Here's the counter argument I would have. Rather than saying crush that, you could balance it. You could balance it in America specifically by saying, you know what? If everybody in America changed their mindset for a second, and instead of us assuming that we all have to work at a job that we slave away at to make like less than minimum wage, and then we can't afford healthcare, can't afford childcare, can't afford to pay teachers, how about these big companies we allow to get away with it because they have to skim off the top to pay for basic living necessities of life, so that normal people have healthcare, normal people have education, normal people have a house, normal people have food. Because you know what's going to happen? Those people sitting around at home are going to spend their basic wage on Amazon anyway, and then the robots can do the job anyway.
This is it. If you pay people the minimum wage, if you pay them $20 an hour, where's that going to go? They're going to be able to feed them.
I'm not even saying to work.
They're going to spend their money. It's like a
for work.
I'm
saying,
well, that what you
I'm
just
saying not to work. Let the robot have that job.
Yeah,
why make a person work in a factory without taking a urine break when a robot can do it better? But if the company that puts in robots instead of workers pays like an actual tax, by God, Amazon doesn't even pay tax right now, for fuck's sake. Exactly. If they just pay a tax, then they can afford to keep those people not working, like this this guy. He says, I work 110%. You know what he'd be better at doing? Doing childcare for free, or helping old people, or planting gardens, or doing something for society that's not working in a warehouse for Amazon. Like, our whole capitalistic mindset is awesome, but it's whacked out at this point that people have to go work at McDonald's to try to just eke out a living, when Jeff Bezos can go into space and take $100 trillion with him and burn it on the way.
It's crazy, guys, and it's annoying. And the false economy of it is what's crazy. You pay people more money, they spend more money, which then goes round the economy, right? So it's an economic thing. And you're saying the issue that I see, and it is slightly political and slightly simplified, but if the Democrats were in this cantrry, they would be right of the conservative. So you have two right-wing parties. It's just crazy, and I can't see a socialist Democrat party. But the point is that Democrats are still driven by capitalism, and so that you will never get out of this situation of paying people not enough to live. It's crazy that Walmart make billions of dollars profit a year, and they won't pay the minimum wage. It's just crazy to me. I just don't get it. Same as Amazon.
Let's go for our break, and when we come back, I've got some more stories. I'll be back in a few moments, folks. We're coming back. It's holiday weekend in America. It's the 4th of July. I managed to rustle up a good panel, though. It took a bit of effort, but like I say, we're having a good discussion. Before I go, I forgot to mention one of my great sponsors in the first half. That's Costos. One day I'll be able to pronounce it correctly. So they're just a fantastic provider if you're looking to get into podcasting. you do need somewhere to store your audio files, produce the RSS feed, and all the other bits and bobs that you need to do correctly to publish your world-beating podcast to the world. If you're looking to get into podcasting yourself or for a client, I can't recommend them more. I moved to them from a previous provider. They were half the price. They helped me move over 600, almost 900 episodes when I include my other podcast. It was done really flawlessly, and I've just been delighted. They've got a really great interface, a great support team. Their pricing is really attractive. They've got Matt Medeiros as the head of marketing and customer experience. So what more could you ask for? So go over there, have a look, get into podcasting, and if you do, can you please tell them that you heard about them on the WP-Tonic show? So let's go on to story 3. I've moved to Gutenberg completely. What did you think of this one, Sally?
About damn time. I mean, sorry, like I've been using Gutenberg exclusively for 5 months. Yeah, so I've been using Gutenberg exclusively since the beginning of 2018.
I don't know what to say to you, Sally, but there we go. You know, you've always been eccentric, but there we go. But there, I'm only kidding.
I'm definitely eccentric. I'm not going to argue with you on that one.
Yeah, he wants to be boring. It's better to be eccentric, isn't it? So Andrew, what did you think of this story?
I think it's a good idea because love him or loathe him, and I happen to be in the middle of that. I really like him. I've spoken to him a couple of times now, and it's.
Who are you talking? Who are, for the listeners and viewers?
Chris Lemmer.
Yeah,
He's a mover and a shaker. He knows his stuff. I mean, he's an influencer. There's some influencers out there that think, or people say they're influencers. Standing next to Chris Lemmer in the WordPress industry, you are not an influencer if you're standing next to Chris Lemmer, because Chris Lemmer is like right up there. And he uses things like Nitro CDN or Nitro Pack, whatever, to speed his website. So he gets 100 out of page speed insights. And it's all about speed. He talks about speed on his website all the time when you're using WooCommerce stuff. He's head of product at Liquid Web, I think, Nexus and all that kind of stuff. So if he's moving to Gutenberg, he's making a statement and saying, if I can do it, you guys can do it. So if you're a blogger, which he is, he writes a blog. I think as of today, I think he's written 186 blogs this year. So we're halfway through the year. That's about right, isn't it? So every day he's written a blog. So I presume he's not. I agree with him.
Can you let me remark? I presume he's not writing them all. I presume he's got a team. What do you think?
No, he's genuinely saying, I had a chat with him. I said, "Do you really write them all?" He said, "Yeah, I do." But if you look at them, they're not actually that. They're sort of, once you're in your head, you can write a blog in the bath, and then you put it. It takes you. We can all type pretty fast, so it takes 20 minutes to put a blog together. 20 minutes out of your day, it's not a big deal. But yeah, I mean, I think that we should all look at this and say, do you know what? We've got to start using it, even if it's just for a blog.
I'm definitely looking at my, are we going to move away from Alameda to Gutenberg in the next few months? Well,
he's still using a theme. He's using Blocksy, which has got its own blocks as well. And then you've got we talk about Munir Kamala all the time in Extensify. You've got the Gutenberg hub and stuff like that. So it's the third. I think the third part.
Yes, although most of Chris Lemmer's posts are pretty much just text.
Yeah, quite. Yeah,
but
he did a video thing the other day, but
necessarily a lot of fancy layout tools for it.
I think it's the third party guys that are driving Gutenberg rather than Gutenberg driving. So, and that's always been a problem with WordPress, right? You'll always agree with me. They don't have an HR department, which is what we've been talking about, aka Amazon. And two, they don't seem to have a marketing department. They kind of let the users do that. They spread the news about whatever's going on in WordPress. So.
Well, there's a tiny volunteer marketing team that's sort of struggling to to do stuff on behalf of
Yeah,
WordPress.
but they need to be paid, Sally. Come on, they need to. Marketing team needs to be paid, and then they'll do a proper job. Because it's not up to us to promote the WordPress stuff. Really, it's up to Automatic to give some, or WordPress to give some money.
Well, Automatic does just fine at promoting WordPress.com. I get marketing emails from them all the time.
Well, exactly. How many marketing emails did you get from WordPress? I don't think I've ever had one.
So, Heather, you've had how to put this? You've had a mixed relationship with Gutenberg, haven't you, Heather? Are you coming around to it a bit more? Are you going to be seduced into trying it again, Heather?
No.
And Heather's response to this is over my dead body.
No, I mean, it's like, so I have a new project that we just popped up, and every time it's like, would you like to use the regular WordPress editor or the default WordPress editor, which is Gutenberg? We're like, okay, let's give it a shot. And then everything gets all distorted, and then we have to go back and fix it. And then we're like, no, never again. And then we just disable it. Because, I mean, it's like suddenly the pages all disappear. So no, we just have such terrible, I have PTSD about Gutenberg not happening.
That seems very strange, because I've had lots of old sites converted over and nothing has vanished. And 99% of the time, if I take an old post and convert it to blocks, it just works.
So, Spencer, I'm not getting this. I'm consistently getting this, 2 stories from various people that I totally respect. I literally get 2 totally different stories from one group and the other. Those that say, well, it's ready to really rock and roll. You can do all this now, And then I have people like Heather and that say, oh, it's horrible.
If your experience is horrible, you should stop doing it. I mean, I'm certainly not saying Heather should inflict extra trauma on herself.
No, I'm not saying that, Sally. But Spencer, we got to insight what's going on. Why you got these really 2 totally polar different views about it, haven't you? I'm just puzzled by that, Spencer. You got any insight?
I think so. Let me just say that, to Sally's credit, that I am starting to warm up to the notion of Gutenberg for certain things, but it's not actually been driven by my feeling that the Gutenberg team is making the headway, but rather other people are. And it's also a reflection of the thing we were joking about when the show began, that as of late, there must have been 77,000 independent page builders that have all cropped up. And is somebody who is building a plugin, but also through WP Launchify, trying to tell people, here's the stack of stuff to rely on. There's one advantage that Gutenberg has over everything. It's native WordPress. Now, that doesn't mean that it's better right now, but it means that it's the layer below all this other noise that's going on. And again, certain people from certain groups were sitting on the power lines over my car, dropping poop on it all day long because their plugin or page builder doesn't work with WordPress natively and it breaks stuff. And I'm telling them that's wrong. But even those people were saying, we loved it because it's so fast. And I said, how can you tell me with good conscience or logic that something that's an additional layer on top of core WordPress is faster than core WordPress? So my prediction is as follows. I myself am working with the other tools to try to figure a way that even though, let's say, my Launchflows plugin really favors Elementor, that I can show people this layer of Gutenberg, and I'm working with Andrew and some other things to just make a series of just take this at the base level, ready to go kind of templates, because for 99% of the world, that's all they need. Now, I also want to say something. I respect Chris. I like Chris. I spoke to him a month and a half ago about why he's blogging every day. And a lot of it has to do with his personal desire to do so and get back in the swing of things. But let's not forget, he writes a very simple thing and puts affiliate links in there. So, I mean, he's just not unclear about this. So let's not forget, he says today about this and tomorrow about that, and it could be opposite ideas. But as long as both of them are affiliates, that's okay. And nobody should disrespect that. That's the concept that a lot of bloggers have built their living on. So I'm just saying his article has a grain of truth in it. But really, at the heart of it, this drama is going to unfold of, if Gutenberg reaches that magical point where Heather and I and other people don't feel like the Jenga game is going to collapse onto ourselves or our clients, then I think it will be over. The other page builders will win in their own niches, but you'll still be able to go like, hey, you know what? Like, it's like using Classic now, you know, and for 9 out of 10 times, I could just use it. So it's not
I have to ask Chris to come back on the show, actually. I have to ask him to come on this, actually. He will. I think he's warmed to me a bit more. He did say to me, Jonathan, you ask bloody difficult questions, you know. But there we go. That is my purpose.
I mean, he's got like 5 affiliate links in this article, right? I mean, this is all affiliate links. Blocksy and Rocket and Generate Blocks. Those are just affiliate links. I mean, and it's not like he's saying
it's to defend. Well,
no, you don't have to defend it because I'm not picking on him. I'm simply saying he needs to come up with subject matter to talk about. So this is, you know.
Well, one supposes lots of people are sending him potential subject matter, because if he writes about them, lots of people are going to see it.
Well, he will if they include.
But then the affiliate
green notes with the letter.
We all have problems writing blog posts, right? So if he's going to write a blog post about Blocksy, then he'll say why I embrace Gutenberg, because Blocksy is an unbelievably easy
I must
thing
be
to use, right?
I'm inundated, and I'm not kidding you, inundated with people that say they will give me money if I will post something on the WP-Tonic or I will endorse their product. I literally must have 5 to 10 offers per week, and the only ones I take up are those that will sponsor the show, and then I've got to actually believe that they're decent people. And
but also, you've got
he
uses.
Yeah, the only time where I haven't followed that is with Spencer's products. No, I'm only kidding. Sorry, Spencer, I have to have a dig. But when it comes to Chris, it's a bit complicated because he is, you know, like you said, Spencer, you're totally right. It's all products that he's taking money to write about their product.
That doesn't sound right, because I don't want this to come off badly. I am not saying Chris Lemma should not put affiliate links in, because we all know that's what he does.
No, I'm not saying that.
Being clear that if he had 25 things he could write about, one article is going to be about 2 or 3 of those things, but that in general, almost all of them, because why shouldn't he, are affiliate links. Why shouldn't he do that? But don't confuse that with the underlying capabilities or logic, because there have been many times when he said something on a Monday that he says the opposite about on a Thursday. And then, you know, Adam Presser does this. A lot of people who do affiliate marketing do that. And I say to myself, wait a second, pick one of them. But when you're an affiliate marketer, you can't pick one of them. You have to just talk about everything that has an affiliate link.
No, what I was actually going to say, Spencer, is it takes, but there's nothing wrong with it. But what anybody that's got credibility in any field, when they're doing that, it's always a balance. Are you as that individual, you've got to make a judgment call, because your influence and reputation is really based on the relationship you have with your audience, and it doesn't happen straight away, but it's really easy to go down a slippery route where you're not realizing it's hidden.
I think we just have to be clear about it, because where it gets to be a problem is if you're a person that's like a consumer affairs review site, you have to be squeaky clean. Like, I don't take money from anybody, right? If you are somebody who is a blogger and you disclose, hey, I get paid for links to whatever, then there's no criticism that should be given to other than the logical one. I actually agree with this premise of this article, as I said, but I'm saying Chris and some other people who make content in this way, like Adam, will literally confuse and confound me, because I'll have people that will come to me and say, I watched Adam's video and he said use Cadence, but then he's working over here with Astra, and then he said use this thing, but not that thing and this. And it's like, that's not a consumer affairs type of site. That's a talk about whatever.
And the thing is, there are often a number of different good things one could use. So you can find several things that you could endorse in good conscience.
Yeah. Well, understand that. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's
but I agree with both of you, because in some ways I totally agree with Spencer. I do find it a little bit irritating when Adam does that, but also then I think about it and I agree with Sally and I agree with Adam, because there isn't one, and because he's got a business relationship with Asher doesn't mean he can't talk about other themes, does it? What do you reckon?
It's not that he can't talk about it. The thing that I'm getting at, which is a nuance, I suppose, is one of the things I'm trying to achieve in my own goals of WordPress is to help WordPress as a platform become more like every other SaaS platform. You don't go to any other SaaS platform and see there's 14 choices for how to do the page building, or there's 6 choices how to do the e-commerce, or there's 12 choices. WordPress as a platform is so hard for people because they look to these authorities like a Chris or an Adam, and they're mistaking oftentimes the authority of a recommendation on Tuesday as being, oh, you said Cadence and Cadence blocks is the way to go. But then on Thursday, you talk about using this other plugin or page builder. Which one is it? I'm confused. That's where I think we have a problem that is not their particular thing to solve, but it's an outcropping of their business model, which is, I have an audience, I should tell them what to buy on a different day, and it's a different link, and it's a different affiliate revenue to me. But it should.
I don't agree with this. I think that it's a matter of because WordPress is like there's so many options to choose from. What these articles do and what these influencers do is that they expose you to options. They expose you to this. So every day or every Friday at the end of the session, we make recommendations of stuff that we like, but we also make recommendations of I would recommend Andrew's product because I know Andrew, and I would recommend your product, Spence, because I know you. I trust you. I don't know if your solution is the best solution, but I know you. So I kind of I would recommend that happily. If someone asks me about funnels and stuff. So that's.
But it's even more complicated.
Well, I think Spencer's point is valid, but the question is, are people like Adam and Chris writing for the end user who just wants a solution to use a website? Yeah, or are they writing for the implementer or the developer or the person who's always looking for, okay, I have this thing that works pretty well, but is there something that's better?
Adam,
I think the thing that these guys do, they and specifically Chris, and I've been reading his blog every single day and I've got some tips and tricks from it, and I've found out about stuff that I didn't know about, like Blocksy, and I've bought it and I like it and whatever. The point is that without the influencers telling us about these products, our choices are limited to a Google search. So what I like about Chris Lemmer above anybody else is that he actually uses the products, right? So that's the most important thing. When I'm looking at an affiliate marketer, I'm an affiliate for Veto. I very rarely share my affiliate link. I just tell people about it. But, the point is that if you love a product and you use a product, then having an affiliate link is no crime, right? It's just I used to be against affiliate links. They're just a pain in the neck to manage and pay affiliate marketers. But if you have a genuine interest in promoting your product, you can restrict my affiliate marketeers that they must buy my product first. Buy it, not give it. Here's my product. Write about it. Buy it, use it, love it, promote it. That's the key. And there's a massive promotion going on for Jarvis at the moment. Conversion.ai. They've got a whole Facebook group of affiliate marketeers literally earning thousands a month, and they've never used it. And it's really annoyed me. I mean, it's just annoying me They're just promoting it because the affiliate deal is so good, right? So those are the affiliate marketers I don't like, the people that don't use it and just market it for money's sake.
So,
Andrew,
if you have an audience, like that that is consisting of hundreds of thousands of people in some of those cases, or even just a few hundreds, right? Maybe something that is not perfectly right for you is right for someone. I'm not saying recommend shit products, but there's just so many good stuff out there.
Just use it and love it. That's what I'm saying is use it, love it, promote it. That's my mantra around me signing up an affiliate marketer.
I don't look at it
unless you buy my product.
I don't necessarily. So, for example, and maybe that I'll make this my recommendation for the day. There is a tool called the Web Audit by a great guy called Cliff that allows people to generate website audits with a click of a button. Right? It's like a Chrome extension, and you get like a report that you can send out to cold leads or prospects that are asking about their website. You do like a website review with a click, right? I didn't know about this when I was running my agency. I think it's a brilliant idea because we were doing this manually to kind of close deals and to move leads into the right direction. I never got the opportunity to use it because now I don't build websites for clients anymore, but I have an audience of 20,000 agencies and freelancers that do. So what? I'm not going to tell them about this awesome idea that I wish I knew at the time.
Yeah. So Heather, what's your whole, actually this conversation's gone in a different direction. That's what I love about this show. So what's your, because, you were involved in Evernote and you advise other business. What's your whole opinion about influencers and affiliate marketing?
I think especially when a business is starting out, it's a really good way to get people to know who you are. Hey, like I have 1,000 free miles of Tesla supercharging because a friend of mine used my referral code when they bought theirs. So there's that. No,
how is the Tesla?
It still hasn't come because I have there's a chip shortage and Model S's are few and far between right now. But I mean, that's
so you're roughing it, are you?
I know, roughing it in my Prius. No, we didn't need it right away. I feel bad for people that did. But no, as far as influencers, I think there's a misconception though that like people think that influencers, like every influencer is Kim Kardashian, and that they're all making billions of dollars. And the thing is, like, I am technically an influencer. Like, I get sent
I'm
products.
trying to picture Chris Lemma as Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, no. I mean, my whole house is filled with...
he has lost a lot of weight, hasn't he?
Yeah, my whole house is filled with products that people send for me to write about in my articles, but it's not like I'm getting paid for that. And then I'm not asking people to then go out and buy it. Like they're like literally asking for honest reviews and I don't have affiliate codes for any of this stuff. It's just like, will you do that? And I think that's fine. Like being a member of the press, being a journalist, those are like influencers, and that's what it's supposed to be. The kid, like where kids are getting tricked is thinking like this is a career where I'm going to make a lot of money. And I've said before, like Lois Lane wasn't rich, Clark Kent wasn't rich. Like you shouldn't be expecting to make a lot of money doing this.
Kind of in British politics there's the phrase he or she is a big beast. And that's what Chris Lemma is in kind of in that using that British jargon, political jargon. He's a big beast in WordPress. He's highly intelligent. He's brighter than me. He's made a hell of a lot more money than I've made. But you can be an idiot and make a lot of money. But he is a really smart guy, and he's a big beast. He's a big beast in WordPress. So.
And the idea
I agree with Heather. I don't think that people make a whole lot of money from this. When we started I thought that the affiliate, if I recommend products that I like, that might become like a revenue stream even. But quickly realized that this is not the case. And now I recommend out of just
Love.
out of experience and just out of love. Exactly.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's why like I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, and you may have a bad taste in your mouth because like Kim Kardashian is out there like hawking everything, but for most people, like for most of the people that are doing this every day, they're out there because they love it, and they're recommending. Like I get sent stuff all the time, but the only things that I will recommend are the things that I actually use and like. And I always tell people, I'm like, if you're going to send me something, you're only going to see an article about it if like I incorporate this into my daily use.
Yeah, got a couple of comments from got Stephanie joined us, commented, and Dan L, he's commented. So please leave your comments, and if if I've got time, I'll read out a couple. But Andrew, do you think I'm a beast in the WordPress community?
Well, I think, you know, how many listens does this stuff get? You know, it gets a few, and we're all willing to, expose ourselves to the masses and who listen to this and we think, I'm on here because I like you guys. It's as simple as that, and I want to be able to have
yes,
an opinion.
I certainly don't assume I influence anyone by being.
No, I don't. But I think.
Well, actually, you do. Actually, your opinion about things because of your long track record of running a really good word group and all your other things you've done, Sandy. Your influence is quite large to those that are because of So it goes with your track record. It's like Andrew, your opinion, it's like Spencer, Vito, you're all very active in the WordPress community in a good way. So
yeah, for the benefit of the community, and that's the key. And I think even if you are, I've got a very good friend of mine, affiliate marketer, and he makes $10,000 a month easily on his head. But he has the same methodology as Heather, which is fantastic. Is you send me a product, if I can put it into my everyday life, and that's really key. If that becomes part of my life hacks, then I'll write about it and I'll promote it, and I'm really happy to do that. He's not a TikTok. He's on TikTok, but he's not a TikTok marketer and just goes right. Latest life hack because I get 50% of the sale or whatever. Doing it for the right reason. There was actually a bit of a Twitter storm the other day, and I won't mention names, but it was somebody against, quite a big influencer saying and criticizing them and saying that they're only in it for the money. And that, after reaching out and everything, they kind of understood what they were doing. But the thing is that there is a lot of resentment sometimes within our community to other affiliate marketers because they are just perceived to be doing it for the moolah, for the money, and but that's their issue because they're not explaining what they're doing properly. If they use the product, love it, promote it, I'm really cool with that. Really
but the people that are making $10,000 or more a month on that people don't realize that becomes a full-time job for them to market that much. Like I have little to no marketing on the things that I do. Like even my book, like I have like a few mentions here and there, but I have not done any real marketing on it at all yet because I want to have enough like reviews and stuff first before I market it. And like whereas like if I was a marketing person, I would have had like before it came out the gate, and like I would have had, it would have been at the top of the bestseller lists, but I'm not trying to sell it, but because it's not my full-time job. I'm a CTO. So like the people that
there is that question. If you're going to make a lot of money from something, you generally have to put work into it.
Oh yeah.
And so if you have only a limited amount of energy, and of course nobody has infinite energy and attention, you have to decide where you're going to put it. And
so you met Vito Peleg.
Yeah, and I don't mean to knock Kim Kardashian. I mean,
nightmare.
like, dude, like the fact that she's been like in her non-copious amounts of free time going to law school, in addition to raising like all of her kids and running a business and going through a divorce, like, holy balls. This is a lot.
But there are 24 hours in a day. You know, we have the same amount of time in a day as any of these influencers, of any of these chief execs, and it depends how you plan it. And it's not all about. And Vito and I know each other really well. Vito will know that I like to earn money, but it's not all about the money. It's all about golf. Currently, it's all about looking after my girlfriend with a broken ankle. But
sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that.
But it's not all about the money. If you can find,
yes, well, tell your girlfriend that she's fortunate. Because if I broke an ankle, I would have to have someone come stay with me. My husband is not capable in the department of looking after me.
I get it. Yeah, she is very lucky. Yeah, even though I was played golf today.
I'm very puzzled by that, Sally. But
the point is that if you find a happy medium of where you are in your life, I'll come and get out there and play golf.
I'll come look after you, Sally. There we go. If he can't get off his arse, they'll help you out. So there we go. I think we ditched the. It was the other story was another dig at Amazon actually. So we dropped that. Let's go on. So before we go on to our recommendations of the week, I want to talk about a free webinar that I'm doing with the evil genius Spencer on the 9th of July. He's looking at me.
I'm getting confused with Jeff Bezos, who has a couple $100 trillion more than I do. So
yeah, there we go. But easy, all right. So Spencer, what are we going to be discussing in this great webinar?
We're gonna show how to do sales funnels with Gutenberg. That's what we're gonna do. And you know why we're gonna do that? Because of the two things we talked about earlier. Number one, because if you can do this stuff with Gutenberg, everything else is icing on top. And number two is it's to objectively, in my own subjective way, sort of shine the light on the insincere but passionate illogic of people who think that just because something does one thing they want, that makes it okay to use in an ecosystem like WordPress. I want to show how the less number of things you use, the more core things you use, the better the better your results will be. I mean,
so Spencer, how many arrows have you pulled out of your back from the Oxygen fans this week?
I mean, what was interesting is that's like a Groucho Marx answer because, I don't want to belong to any club that will have me. So these people from the particular group are sending me all these comments by ill-informed people. And I broke them all down into like, what exactly are you saying? And the logic is simply this. Yes or no, does that particular page builder disable the core theme functionality of WordPress? The answer of everybody is yes, it disables it. So I say your argument is therefore that in order to achieve whatever this thing claims it's achieving for speed, you're willing to break the core functionality of WordPress to get there. And their answer is yes. And I say, that's the end of the conversation.
Yes, but Spencer, you don't have a deep knowledge of Oxygen, do you?
Why? Wait, what is the video asking?
Why does this, why is this the end of the conversation?
Because here's why. I said that the solution for this is if you feel that page builder has some features that are so awesome, have those authors change the way they do things to bring it back into compliance with what everything else in WordPress does. Because this is like a metaphor of driving on the highway. Sure, it might be cool to build a car that drives backwards on the wrong side of the road because it's awesome and cool and faster. But you're going to kill a lot of people who are relying upon, I'm driving this way along with the rules of the road. Plugins need to rely upon certain functionality, like the core WordPress theme functionality, because it carries with it lots of other mechanics. And if you're trying to say it's okay to get an audience of people and get them all excited about what you're doing, but not really be clear about all the things that they will have to sacrifice or that will break as a result of it, then that's not a good solution even for them. You're being disingenuous. So WordPress is a framework that we all have to live with. And while you may not like it, you have to at least not break it or disable it. How many times did we talk about the last 2 months, 3 months about all those plugins that did that naughty stuff to the WordPress core? I mean, that's it.
Yeah, well, we needed to do a bunch of compatibility stuff to make it work with Oxygen enabled because of these stuff.
Right. You mean you guys? Well, let me
address.
You guys changed your plugin, like WP Funnels did, to adapt to their naughtiness. And I'm taking either a business or a political or a moral stand that says I am not going to change launch flows to comply with you breaking WordPress core, because you breaking WordPress core has 100 other things that I've seen that it will cause bad effects on. Plugins like the events calendar or plugins like the WP affiliate. Other things rely upon that core being in place. And if I bend over to modify my plugin to adapt to you, I'm giving you my tacit approval. And I don't think that's what I want to do. I mean, more power to you if you do, but
So if you want to comment on Spencer's remarks, please go to the WP-Tonic Facebook group and paste your remarks on there, and that would force Spencer to actually contribute more to the WP-Tonic group page, which he promised to do. So there we go. On to our recommendations of the week. Mine comes from Chris Lemmer. This came on I think it was from Chris. Woo Funnels. Marketing automation. I had a little play with it. The only problem with I've remarked, so I'm not exactly, it's not exactly a recommendation. It's a bit like Chris, go and have a look at it. But the only concern I had with it, and I've mentioned this before, when you look over the website, there's no information at all about who these people are, where they come from. Unlike Spencer, Spencer, all your products has your name, who you are. I'm amazed at the amount of plugins. They have absolutely no information of who's behind it, the company, nothing. And I'm amazed these people, they get a lot of people buying their plugins and that. I am always a bit disturbed that the person or the company behind it doesn't tell you who they are, where they are, what their track record is, and it should be all on their website for you to look at. But there we go. Andrew, have you got anything you want to recommend?
Yep. I'm not sure whether I've recommended this before, but WSForm.com. I saw on another blog post, or another podcast rather, that Paul Lacey is connected with us. I thought Paul Lacey was going to come here today, and
he was. We had to cancel because he had to prepare himself because he's doing a podcast with Adam, and he said he's such in a nervous state that and they moved it to today that he was having to take large amounts of whiskey before he actually went on to the podcast with Adam, which I can imagine actually. There we go.
But anyway, my recommendation is WSForm.com. It is possibly, in my honest opinion, I use it exclusively now. It's logic form. It's connects to anything you want it to connect to. It's got payment gateways. You can build a whole WooCommerce shop around it. And it was on this other podcast, and it was Mark Westergaard taking you through it for an hour, and I use it every day, this form, and my mind was blown by what you can actually achieve with it. It's amazing. So WSForm.com, and no affiliate links or affiliation or anything at all. I just love it. I think
please, panel, make sure all your recommendations are put into Slack. It really helps me. So, Spencer, got anything you want to recommend to the WP-Tonic tribe?
Yeah, this is an unusual one for me. I put a YouTube link in for this new thing called, it's not a consumer product yet, called Copter Pack. It's essentially a personal version of this new trend. There's 10 companies or more that are making 1 or 2 person autonomous taxis, which are basically scaled up versions of those little quadricopters we all have for radio control. This is a dude wearing a backpack with 2 of those fans on. And I've seen this before with jets, turbines with gas, but with the electric, this is really quite sweet. And I'm not saying it's ready for prime time yet, but it just shows where we're going. When the lithium ion batteries get good enough and the computers make this stable enough, we're in the Jetsons, baby. I mean, he's just able to go and on his, just really cool. Your mic's off, Andrew.
And we're going to see the traffic control nightmare.
Put the link in chat.
Yes, put the link
in the chat here. So what's interesting, though, is I used to be, I still do. I'm a pilot, and I used to fly a machine called a trike, which is a microlight in Britain. And it's like a hang glider with the carriage, 1 or 2 people and an engine. And it's incredibly free and freedom inducing, but it also high performance. But we used to have these things called ballistic parachute systems, BRSs, which if you got into trouble over 300 feet, 600 feet maybe, you could pretty well save your ass. They obviously need something like that for these kinds of devices, and I'm sure they're already thinking of it. But I don't feel that we're that far off from the commercial taxi versions of these. There's a company in China right now who's in late stage approval. And, like in Star Wars or in whatever, you see those rows of taxis going between the buildings. I can see that being a very viable thing where they just, let you off, self-charge, then they take you back and forth between buildings or the airport to the building and get you off the road.
Or like the scooters, like the scooters everywhere.
Yeah, whatever, yeah. I mean,
there was a reporter in New York, a very young lady, and she wasn't at work, it was in her free time. Her and a couple of friends, she was only like 27. They hired one of those electric scooters. She fell off and she died.
Oh, no.
She died. It's very sad.
You can die from falling off a bike. My friend.
Yeah, we had a guy last week who died on the scooter, got hit by a car, one of these electric scooters. We've got a strange situation in the UK. Electric scooters, if you ride them privately, are illegal. But if you hire one, they're fine.
Yeah.
And the reasoning behind that is because if you hire one, you're insured. It's that simple. The hire charge includes insurance. But, you can buy a really nice electric scooter for $1,500 and drive it around. But, the problem is insurance. You're either not insured to crash into someone else, or you're not insured because somebody else has crashed into you. So by these hire companies coming out in London and Leicester and Lincoln and all sorts of cities, 15 quid
I take it you
an
can't
hour
buy
covers your
insurance for
insurance.
them the way one does for a car. What?
Well, no, you can't, because they're actually illegal. Once they become legal, there will be a licensing. The problem is that there's no number plate or there's no self-identification. So how do you know that a person is insured? We have massive non-insurance in this country. A few years ago, my wife had a head-on collision with somebody, and they were an illegal immigrant and they weren't insured. So, what do you do? And they'd been here for 10 years. So there's always a problem with insurance. But the thing is, with any vehicle that goes over 20 miles an hour, 15, 20 miles an hour, including cyclists, they're not insured. These scooters aren't insured. I don't know a cyclist that has got any kind of insurance for riding a bike on the road. If anybody here ride a push bike, my push bike isn't insured for me riding it on the road.
No. Right. So, Heather, have you got anything you want to recommend to the listeners and viewers?
Yes. So I know a lot of us already use U-Image Optimizer. And right now it is on a lifetime deal on AppSumo. So I've sent the link for that. Get on it quickly.
All right. Well, great. Thanks. Put that in.
Well, that surprised me, because I know the developer of that, and
put that in Slack, Heather. Can you? So
surprises me that's gone on AppSumo. I'm stunned. It's like Vito putting Atarim on. That's weird.
Well, I think Vito can change his views quite rapidly. That's why I love him. So, Sally, got anything you want to recommend?
Yes, actually. These last couple of days particularly, there are 2 things that I have been using in combination, although either of them on its own is useful. One of them is Gigapixel AI. from Topaz Labs. Enhance your image detail and resolution by 600%. If you are somebody who builds client websites, you may deal with the fact that they send you these really terrible, small, low quality product images, and you're like, can you get me a better image? No. So this is amazing for actually taking that tiny image and enlarging it to be the size that you need for it to be a featured image. It does an amazing job.
Looks amazing.
And the other one is Clipping Magic, which is a background removal tool. There are several different ones, but I liked this one enough to give them some money.
It's really good, isn't it?
I used the Canva one because I've got a pro Canva account.
Yeah.
I love the Canva clipping situation, but Clipping Magic, I will have a look at that.
Yeah, it's really, Sally's got a couple really great. That's really good. What Sally, both of them.
Gigapixel looks amazing.
So
they've got a whole suite of things, but the enlarger was the one that I especially needed.
Yeah. So Vito, got anything you want to recommend to the WP-Tonic tribe?
Yes. So instead of recommending one thing, I'm going to recommend 10 in one go. And basically, we have we celebrated our second anniversary a couple of weeks ago. And as part of this, we partnered up with a bunch of awesome companies in the WordPress space. No affiliate links, nothing of to continue our conversation, but just to kind of give a suite of tools for agencies and freelancers that are just awesome. All bundled up into, and that is included with a $1 free or kind of a free trial for the first 30 days. $1, and you get 20 websites for a year from WP Dev. You get 4 months for free on My Web Audit that I talked about before. 50% on Spotlight, which is an Instagram feed thing. Care Plan training from Christina Romero for $25 instead of $100. Termageddon are giving away 2 free sets of privacy policies, and the list goes on and on. There's 10 of them, and this is just month 1. Next month is we already have next month with Kim Doyle, WS Forms that Andrew recommended, that just sent off the coupon, which is amazing. I can't say what it is yet, but
how is Kim? I understand she's sunning herself in Puerto Rico.
Yes, I had a call with her just the other day. She's awesome. We have to do outreach and have her come back on the Roundtable show. I haven't spoken to her in years, but thanks for that. Make sure the link's in Slack, Vito. Spence, can I ask you to drop this in Slack? Copy it from the side here. Someone if has Slack.
Yes, can you do that for me, Spencer? Can you bring that into Slack for me?
I'm on I don't have my laptop today, so.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
One of you.
Thank you, Sally.
Thank you.
I can copy to the Slack. Sorry, I thought you meant on the StreamYard.
No, sorry about that. So panel, thank you. Before I asked the panel to say how people can reach them and find out more, I just got 2 little favors to ask the tribe. Number 1, please join the Facebook group. Andrew and some of the other panel are going to be really helping me, and we're going to be expanding the WP-Tonic Facebook group.
Yeah, but it's not called that. Tell them what it's called.
Well, you tell them. Go on.
I can't remember.
I can't remember either. So we're going to have to do something about that, aren't we? That's a problem, isn't it? And secondly, can you leave a review on iTunes? I've made up. We've kissed and made up me and Apple and iTunes. I spoke to somebody a bit senior that actually seemed to know what they were talking about. And they were a very nice lady, and they were very helpful. And I've resolved some of my ongoing problems with iTunes. But please leave a review with them at iTunes. It really does help the show. So, panel, Andrew, starting with Andrew, what's the best way for people to find out more about you and what you're up to, Andrew?
Well, I'm an admin on the WordPress membership masterminds, so there along with Spencer and you, so that's good. You can always find me there.
WordPress membership pros.
Yeah, website membership pros, whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna have to change. We're gonna have to We're going to have to change the name of that, aren't we? Yeah.
And you can find me at GridPane, and you can find me at thisisandrewpalmer.com, and that kind of tells you everything I'm up to, including the updating of the 17 plugins that needed updating for the Divi Visual Builder, which we've just finished 1.5 months after taking it over.
I'm just going to, you know what I'm going to call it? I'm just going to call it the WP Tribe. Spencer, what's the best way for people to... He's shaking his head. He just can't. The madness of my mind. He just can't. He just can't
call it. Be done with it.
Yeah,
good.
Facebook group. Yeah, good.
You can find me.
John always used to call us the posse.
Right, the posse, the
tribe.
You can find me visiting the East Bay WordPress user group and/or helping Jonathan buy a car in San Francisco this weekend. Otherwise,
I'll tell you, trying to negotiate with a car dealership, talk about a painful.
You have to go all the way from Nevada to San Francisco for that?
It's a very special car. It's It's a red sports car. Well, they sold the red one, even though I left a deposit. That conversation went down like a bucket of sick.
Would you buy that car if you knew that car could only drive backwards on the highway?
I lost that, but they got another one, a blue one. I don't even know if I've left another deposit, but who knows? I'm ringing them up today to find out if they.
Yes, it's going to be pretty unhappy if you come down all the way down to San Francisco and they don't have the car.
They've sold it again, But what great people to do business with, Just what a lovely experience it's been. Like I say, I'd rather go to a dentist than have a root canal. So Heather, how can people find out more about you and what you're up to?
So you can find me on the web at Heathriel everywhere. So all the socials and on the website.
That's great. Thanks, Heather. And Vito, how can people find out more about you and what you're up to?
Go check out atarim.io, and there you can also find this awesome offer that I mentioned. And if you want to reach out to me on Twitter, Vito Peleg.
And I think it's a great idea that you're doing that. I really think it's an excellent idea, Vito.
Thank you.
So, Sally, how can people find out more about you and your views and what you're up to, basically?
You can find me at WPFangirl.com, and I am at Sally Getch on Twitter and Instagram.
And thank you so much, panel. I know it's holiday weekend. I think it's been a great show. Thanks to some of the listeners, Stephanie, Mark, NL, that left comments. Much appreciated. And
what we call this weekend in the UK?
No, I have no idea.
We dodged a bullet weekend.
I recommend anybody in the UK can watch Russell Crowe in Master and Commander, which I saw on Netflix or something, popped up. A great movie, but definitely, British had a lot of victories over the French. They can talk about.
Oh, we love
gloating over the British right now.
We love kicking the shit out of the French. Bless them. I love the French though. But it's just a national tradition to kick the shit out of them. So there we go. That get me into some of my worst. What are called? I forgot the name. People that follow you on social media to make you like
followers.
No, the people that complain all the time and
trolls.
Some of the worst trolls I ever had have been French people. Actually, I don't know why, but there we go.
I wonder.
Yeah, I imagine.
Je n'ai pas parlé en français.
Bonjour, ça you go up. We'll see you next week.
Jonathan, I'll call you when I get to the airport so you can come pick me up.